Lena Grant stared at the security footage, her mind racing with questions she couldn't quite put into words. The grainy image depicted a figure, partially obscured by shadows, slipping through the back door of her family's mansion around 2 a.m. Lena's heart sank as she rewound the recording for what felt like the 100th time. This was no ordinary intruder, it was someone she knew all too well, someone who shouldn't have been there at all. If you thought things couldn't get worse, they did. Lena's thoughts were interrupted by a knock on her bedroom door. She hesitated for a moment before calling out, "Come in." Her best friend, Sophia, entered the room with a look of concern etched on her face. "Lena, I need to talk to you about something," she said, closing the door behind her. Lena raised an eyebrow. What could Sophia possibly want? They had spoken just hours before, and there was no indication that anything was amiss. But the gravity in Sophia's voice sent a shiver down Lena's spine. "What is it?" Lena asked, trying to sound casual despite the growing unease inside her. Sophia took a deep breath before blurting out the words, "I saw someone sneaking around the house last night." Lena's eyes snapped back to the security footage on her computer screen. This was no coincidence. The timing of Sophia's revelation sent a jolt of electricity through Lena's body. She felt like she was trapped in some twisted nightmare from which she couldn't wake up. "Who was it?" Lena demanded, trying to keep her voice steady. Sophia hesitated before answering. It was him. Just the sound of that name sent Lena's heart racing. The air in the room seemed to thicken as tension mounted between them. This was no longer just about a break-in. This was about secrets, lies, and deceit on an epic scale. It couldn't be just coincidental that Sophia had seen Alex slipping through the back door around 2 a.m. the same time Lena had discovered the security footage. The implications were mind-boggling. Was Alex involved in some kind of scheme? And if so, what did it have to do with their family's business? The more questions Lena asked herself, the more she realized that nothing was as it seemed. She needed answers, and fast. With a newfound sense of determination, Lena rose from her bed and walked over to Sophia. "We need to talk to him," she said, her voice firm but laced with an undercurrent of fear. Sophia nodded in agreement, but before they could come up with a plan, the sound of footsteps echoed outside their room. Alex himself stood in the doorway, his eyes locked onto Lena's. For what felt like an eternity, no one moved or spoke. The air was heavy with tension as the three of them stood there, suspended in time. And then, in an instant, everything changed. Well, Alex said, his voice dripping with sarcasm as he stepped into the room. "What's going on here?" He didn't even attempt to hide the smirk spreading across his face. Lena felt a wave of anger wash over her. How could he just waltz in here like nothing was wrong? But before she could respond, Sophia spoke up. "Alex, we need to talk to you." His grin faltered for a moment before he regained composure. "Oh, I'm shaking with anticipation," he quipped, his eyes darting between Lena and Sophia. The atmosphere in the room continued to escalate as the three of them stood there, locked in a silent standoff. It was only when Lena's father stormed into the room that things went from bad to worse.